What's your name?
My name's Sam.
My name's Agnes.
Okay, my name's Ahmed. Nice to meet you guys.
What's up?
So do you guys know what alienation is? By your book, what would you think alienation is?
Well, for me, alienation would be just feeling, I guess, separate from one another. It could be like isolation, feeling, I guess, just alone from a big group of people.
Okay, and have you been alienated or excluded or anything like any activity, cultural, anything?
Well, that's a good question. I guess me growing up, I actually lived back in Markham. I went to a highly populated, Caucasian area, so I was kind of like the only Asian person there. I felt like a minority, so I guess culturally, I felt alienated in that sense, just because, just like the lone Asian kid in the community.
And how did you overcome it?
I don't know, I guess you just get used to it, you know, once you get up to high school, things start getting a little more, multicultural. So, during that time, it's kind of just...
And did anyone think as you as a threat or like any insult or anything like you thought it was disrespectful towards you happened?
Oh yeah, like I would say there's definitely like racial slurs, like Asian kid, kind of like using it in like a derogatory term. Yeah.
And what do you do about that? Do you just ignore it? Did you come back with racial slurs or anything like that?
No, I think I just ignored it. There wasn't much to say with it. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Barnaby.
Barnaby, and my name is Ahmed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Have you been alienated before?
In what sense?
Like cultural self-alienation, like any type of alienation?
Offhand, no, but I'm sure at some point in my life, yeah.
Yeah. And you can't remember that type of alienation?
Not specifics, no.
And can you name, there's countless types of alienations. Can you name a few off your head?
Bullying, being different in any sort of way. I suppose any kid growing up at school, I suppose that'd be the perfect place to be sort of alienated. If you're sort of seen as different, you're going to be picked out, laughed at, pretty feel alienated.
And have you seen that happen to other people?
Yeah.
And have you done anything about it? Have you ever jumped into a problem like that?
No, I was pretty part of the problem, to be honest.
You're part of the problem?
Yeah.
Could you give me a scenario where you were part of the problem?
Just all kids kind of hang out, trying to make each other laugh, and before you know it, you're sort of picking on someone at school.
And you were young back then, and you just didn't know the problem.
Exactly that. You didn't realise the consequences of it. And obviously, the older you get, the more you realise that doing things when you're sort of 8 or 10 or whatever it is, actually it does have consequences, and upsets people emotionally for the long term as well.
Okay, thank you for your time.
That's all right.
What's your name?
Lizelle.
My name is Ahmed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Have you been alienated before?
Like, what do you mean? Like I alienated myself, or like someone's alienated me from a
yourself.
group?
That
like I've kind of alienated myself from like people who I don't consider like good friends anymore.
What would you consider not good friends anymore?
Like someone who is betrayed me pretty much, and who's like easily
Lost your trust?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Right. And would you have you seen anyone else be alienated before?
Yeah, I actually have. Yeah.
Have you done anything about it?
Yeah, I tried to like befriend them and kind of get like their side on why they've been alienated, or like if it was their choice or not.
So you wanted to see if they shared the same story as you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and let me give you another scenario. Let's say someone was getting bullied by any chance, getting bullied.
Yeah.
What would you come in and help, and in what way would you help too?
Yeah, like if it got to like a certain extent, I kind of be like, you need to back off. Like it's not your business to invade like someone's personal bubble and kind of, I guess, take away their freedom of like speech or whatever to be free.
Okay. And have you ever came across any cultural alienation or isolation or excluding?
Kind of, yeah. Like I see like a lot of groups, if they share the same culture, they won't necessarily bring in like someone of a different culture. So it's kind of like, it's like sketchy. Like why would they do that?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Hope you get an A+ on this.
I really do. All right, thank you.
Anytime. Take care.
Ahmed, and yours?
Abigail.
Abigail.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Have you been alienated before?
Yeah, I think so. I moved here when I was in grade 7, and literally the first 3 months of school, I don't think anybody talked to me.
Really? And after those 3 months, what did you do?
um, I'm not really the kind of person who takes it too hard, so it's a matter of like finding the right people and then, doing
And
it.
when you found those right people, that's when you officially said, I'm not being alienated or anything like that.
I guess,
basically.
I mean,
You didn't notice at the time.
yeah, exactly. I don't think I ever noticed that I was alienated until, a couple years later, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, I shouldn't say that.
Okay. Was it a cultural thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Were you being abused, like let's say like racial slurs or anything like that?
I wouldn't say, okay, maybe not that extreme. There was like very minor bullying, but then when I actually got to high school, which is kind of surprised, I'd already been here for a while, and I didn't really care about other people, and some people used to make jokes about me being a terrorist,
Yeah.
and I'm Indian, so, clearly they don't know their stuff, but yeah, I mean, I've gotten, stupid things, like notes with people drawing pictures of me and like my supposed father, and like, oh, how many presidents have has your father assassinated, all that bullshit, but other than that, I'm kind of over it now. I don't really care.
So you overcome it basically.
Yeah, I think you have to, or if you don't, it's not
Okay.
going to lead you anywhere.
And would you, let's say, someone being alienated, like out of their group, or like that one kid in the hallway that's just by themselves, would you befriend them, talk to them, or like support them in any way? Or would you just bystand and just walk away?
You know what? I'd be lying if I said that I would do something, but I feel like it just depends on like the situation. But I have been a bystander before and not done anything. I think it's just, people do that.
And can you name, like, there's many different kind of alienations, isolations, or any kind of those stuff, but can you name some of them off of your head, like what kind of alienation?
I would think the biggest alienation for me is social isolation. It's like not being, part of a group or, whatever, which is kind of, I guess, the basis of isolation, but
Okay.
yeah.
And thank you so much.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Omar.
Omar, and my name is Ahmed. Nice to meet you. Have you been alienated or excluded from anything?
Well, like I come from a neighborhood up north, and usually like the majority of people are Jewish or like some kind of like Caucasian. So we're like a minority group there, any of like the South Asian group, and so we're really excluded in terms of like in school. Most of the kids are hanging out together. We're always like alone. Even like if we wanted to do any like cultural projects, we've had cases where like there's the other communities, they'd see us like kind of excelling, and they'd want us to stop our activity just because we're a minority.
And you thought that was you thought that was a bad thing, right?
Yeah, like,
And you wanted to. How did you overcome it then?
well, like people try to, as a minority, we want to like educate the other people around us and tell them what our cause is, and that we just want to assure them that we're not a threat to them. And we're not going to disrupt anything. Everything's going to go like the way it was before.
So they thought you as a threat.
Yeah. Like
And
for example, like some of they wanted to build a mosque in our area, but the Jewish community is actually retaliating against it.
they retaliated.
Yeah.
And how did they retaliate?
So they're
for?
basically like showing propaganda. They're putting a poster showing that the area is going to become like they're using property like value. It's going to go down. Our kids are going to turn into Muslims. They use that kind of propaganda and kind of scare the people that don't really have knowledge about these things. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.